AEW President and CEO Tony Khan says AEW Grand Slam Australia is among the top AEW international gates outside of their two shows at Wembley Stadium. We got the ratings for Tuesday's edition of WWE NXT on the CW. It looks like Ricky Starks is set to keep his in-ring name in WWE and NXT. The reason for the Young Bucks winning the IWGP Tag Team Championships in New Japan Pro Wrestling have been revealed. The location for WrestleMania 42 in 2026 has possibly been revealed. Josh Alexander reveals what he said to Mike Santana when he returned to TNA Wrestling. Hulk Hogan and his Real American Beer Company are being sued, and Kenta re-signs with Pro Wrestling Noah. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with Tony Khan making some bold claims when it comes to the upcoming AEW Grand Slam Australia event. With the February 12th edition of AEW Dynamite in the books, the next stop for the company will be Down Under as All Elite Wrestling makes their debut in Brisbane, Australia for the Grand Slam Australia event on February 15th. What started out as a stadium event at the Suncorp Stadium has now been moved to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, but that doesn't mean it's any less of a success from a financial standpoint. During a recent interview with Deej of Down Under the Ring, Khan revealed that besides the two All-In London events in 2023 and 2024, Grand Slam Australia looks set to be the largest international gate in AEW history. Here's what the AEW president and CEO had to say.
The first thing I'm going to say is I was going to end with this, but on behalf of all Australians, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Because Brisbane rarely sees a lot of wrestling activity, so for you to bring this show to Brisbane, it's pretty unreal.
Thank you.
How does that feel for you to be like, this is, it might be, and don't quote me on this, but it might be the first time we've had a caliber of like a pay-per-view-esque in Brisbane. I think you guys are the first ones to do it. So how does that feel?
It feels fantastic. This is one of our biggest events of the year. Grand Slam is always a huge event. There's a lot of build-up, and we spend a lot of time on television hyping these matches, hyping this show, and now fans all over the world are going to have their eyes on Brisbane this weekend. It is a massive opportunity for AEW to come to a new country, a new market for new fans, Australia, but to come to a place where so many of our top wrestlers are from, to be in a country that has produced so many top wrestlers, and so many of them are in AEW now, a part of the best squad of pro wrestlers on the planet. AEW is where the best wrestle, and a lot of the best wrestlers are from here in Australia. So
Absolutely.
It's perfect to come here for this AEW Grand Slam event. I'm very excited, and I do think this is such a massive, excellent card. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, on behalf of all the fans, once again, we are too. We're very excited for it. Have you noticed any struggles in particular with the Australian market for wrestling, or has it been a pretty seamless transition coming over, especially with the roster you've got, I guess?
It's going to be very exciting. It's my first time doing a show here, but this is one of our biggest international events ever. It's one of our biggest gates in the history of AEW, and we're really excited for that. Outside of Wembley Stadium in London, this is going to be, I believe, our biggest international live gate of all time. Awesome. So it's a really very, very exciting event for us here in AEW.
100%. It leads me to ask, what was the choice, or was there a choice process behind picking Brisbane over a Melbourne or a Sydney or even a Perth? Was it Brisbane just stood out, or is there a specific reason you decided on Brisbane?
I know Brisbane and the great promoters here really wanted to bring AEW to Brisbane. It was really important to them. And since AEW launched here on ESPN, we've had a great fan base, and Disney, ESPN, is a massive company, and to have their support in expanding AEW into Australia, it's a big opportunity. The company is really, really excited about this, and personally, I'm very excited for this. I've never been to Australia. I can't wait. And we're here with so many of the best wrestlers in the world, and some of them have never wrestled here, some of them haven't wrestled here in decades, and some of them are from here, and excited to be wrestling here for AEW. It's awesome.
Look, us Aussies, as we saw with Kyle before, us Aussies get a little rowdy sometimes. Are you prepared for the noise that we're going to create inside that venue?
I cannot wait. I don't think anybody's prepared for that. I know that I am so excited. The anticipation is just boiling in my blood for AEW Grand Slam. It's just hours away. It's this Saturday. And I know the fans are going to make a lot of noise, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of our most special events ever this Saturday for AEW Grand Slam Australia.
Absolutely. Now, Tony, I know I said it at the start. I'm going to say it again on behalf of every Aussie. Thank you for bringing AEW out to Australia, let alone bringing it out to Brisbane, because it's my backyard, so it makes it easy for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. It was great to meet you. Thanks, Tony. Yeah,
Now, when it comes to the facts and figures, they're not likely to be released until after the show is over. If Grand Slam Australia does sit in third place behind AEW's pair of trips to Wembley Stadium, it'll mean that the show has surpassed the $1 million mark at the gate, beating out the 2023 Forbidden Door pay-per-view that took place in Toronto, Canada. AEW will be returning to the UK later this year for the 2025 edition of Forbidden Door in London, where Khan will be hoping to set even more records for AEW at international level. Now, let's talk about the ratings for Tuesday's edition of WWE NXT on the CW. The go-home show, of course, heading into NXT Vengeance Day this weekend. Now, Programming Insider as well as WrestleNomics are reporting that WWE NXT on February 11th drew 801,000 viewers, which is up 5% from the 766,000 viewers it scored on February 4th. Now, in terms of the key demographic number, Tuesday's episode scored a 0.18 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's down 10% from the 0.20 rating from last Tuesday's show. Now, speaking of NXT this week, of course, it featured the debut of Ricky Starks in WWE, specifically on the NXT brand, and Ricky Starks is in WWE as Ricky Starks for now. Starks debuted on WWE television on the February 11th episode of NXT, with the company intentionally avoiding him calling by his actual name. On this week's edition of Fightful's The Hump, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful noted that the deal came together very quickly, but was official and he is indeed part of the WWE roster. Internally, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Starks is being referred to and listed as, quote, Ricky Starks, but WWE didn't refer to him as such on screen. A source in WWE confirmed a tip that Fightful Select was given, that the company often works on sync agreements that allow them to utilize names and other trademarks while a performer is with the company. It's believed in the industry that Stark's deal came together so quickly that they were working on the side of caution. However, this should be possibly figured out very, very shortly. Now, PW Insider have also officially reported saying that Ricky Starks has officially signed with WWE. He has been added internally to the NXT roster under the Starks ring name, but that could always change should WWE decide to give him another identity. Now, Triple H, WWE's chief content officer, has also reacted to Starks making his debut this past Tuesday. He sent out the following post saying, quote, WWE NXT has defined itself as a brand of the future where breakout performance can put you on the map. Tuesday, the audience witnessed the beginning of what can be a future-defining shift when referencing Starks' debut. Now, the Young Bucks, of course, they were briefly the IWGP World Tag Team Champions, but they didn't hold the championships for very long, and we may now know why. The Young Bucks recently lost the IWGP Tag Team Championships in New Japan during their ongoing hiatus from AEW, defeating Great Khan and Jeff Cobb of United Empire and Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito at Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th to win the vacant gold. This marked the second time Matthew and Nicholas Jackson became IWGP Tag Team Champions. Their reign came to an end at the New Beginning in Osaka on February 11th, 2025, with Naito and Takahashi winning the titles. The reason why the Young Bucks won the title at Wrestle Dynasty in the first place has now been revealed. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that the Young Bucks won the championship as a way to give Naito and Takahashi a top team to dethrone. He said, quote, the whole thing was to get over Naito and Hiromu as a team because Naito, who is the biggest star they've got, can be in a championship matches on a championship team because he's got Hiromu, who's really freaking good to carry out the matches. So it's a way to keep Naito in the spotlight and use Naito's name and make the tag team titles mean something. So they wanted them to be a great team to win the bouts. Now, of course, as for the future of the Young Bucks, Matthew Jackson noted it was time to come back to work, hinting at a return to AEW in the near future. The Young Bucks haven't been seen in an AEW ring since losing the AEW World Tag Team Championships to Private Party on the October 30th, 2024 episode of Dynamite. Of course, Private Party have since lost the championships to the Hurt Syndicate. Now, WrestleMania 41, of course, is going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada, but has the location for the next WrestleMania after that already been revealed. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, New Orleans is a likely host for WWE WrestleMania in 2026. WrestleVotes has posted on X that WWE is set to announce WrestleMania's host city before WrestleMania this year, which Fightful Select has been led to believe is also New Orleans. Those that Fightful have spoken to claim that New Orleans for 2026 has actually been the plan for years, with it being the idea internally dating back to the last regime. However, with the 2025 location being in flux last year, many in the company thought there was a chance that could change. There are some WWE partners that also had a word that New Orleans was the plan, barring some unforeseen change. Now, if you're wondering about a Saudi or possibly a UK WrestleMania, those in the company that Fightful spoke to said they don't expect it before 2028. Now, Josh Alexander, he could be on his way out of TNA Wrestling, but has he put over his heir apparent on his way out? Mike Santana made his return to TNA Wrestling at TNA Rebellion, defeating Steve Macklin in his return bout. At TNA Genesis, Santana defeated Josh Alexander in an I Quit match. After that bout, Alexander praised Santana and stated he was quitting TNA. Speaking on Straight Talk Wrestling, Alexander looked back on the moment in the ring with Santana, saying, quote, super special, and it's even more special because that was not scripted whatsoever. That was all my own doing and all my 100% belief that I just put out there on pay-per-view for the world to hear. If you don't agree with me, too bad. If it meant anything to you that I was regarded as the standard, for me to say that he's the standard is because I said 100% that I believe it. None of that was storyline or scripted. I said because I believed it so strongly in that moment. Words just came out of my mouth without effort because I've known Mike Santana for 10 years. LAX in the North, we worked together a lot before he went off to AEW. Now he's returned to TNA and has come back with this fire inside of him that I'm very happy to see because I've always known he's capable of this. He's spoken about his addiction issues and the stuff he's overcome. Can't be more proud and more happy for somebody turning their life around because wrestling is his addiction. He had some other things competing for it for a while, and now he's found this one outlet that is the right outlet for him to go out there and get addicted to and share with the world because he is so talented at this. He cares so much. I can talk about how much I love this and care for it all day long. I would sound braggadocious. For me to recognize it in someone else to the point that I feel I have a passion for this, and even more than I have a passion for this, that's where all my respect in the world goes. He has come in, and from his very first match at Rebellion, he came to the back and I gave him a big hug and I was like, you should be the champion. You're the guy. You have solidified yourself. You're ready. It's not like you've come in here and prove anything to anyone. You went out there and proved it in your very first match. On your entrance alone, it bleeds out of him, that passion he has for pro wrestling. The fans gravitate to him and see how hard he works and how much he loves this, and they get with him. Being a babyface in pro wrestling is extremely difficult. I lived it for a very long time, and being a babyface champion is a million times more difficult because it's all up to the chase. And once you get the bout, how are you going to impress me now? I was very lucky when I had the championship that I would go into most matches with a lukewarm reception because I was wrestling another babyface, or I was wrestling Eric Young in his hometown of Nashville. I was put in these situations, but by the end of the match, through my wrestling, I would get the crowd back on board. To see Mike, he has such an organic babyface feel because it's just real. It is completely genuine and real. To be able to go out wrestling one of my best friends on that Genesis pay-per-view, putting him over, this is a storybook ending for me and my TNA career. People call me the standard, the heart and soul a lot. I don't think I ever really took it in the sense that I ever wanted to believe anybody. Maybe it's the humbleness. I need Mike to know he is the standard and the guy setting the bar for the rest of the card from here on out. I think he's going to take it seriously, and that entire roster is in for something because that guy is going to show up every single night. Now, Alexander is set to compete in what's being billed as his final TNA match against Eric Young on tonight's February 13th episode of TNA Impact on Access TV. Now, Hulk Hogan had a tough time of it when he appeared on the Raw Netflix premiere episode in LA, and maybe things are getting worse for the WWE Hall of Famer. Hulk Hogan and his Real American Beer Company, of which WWE is a part owner, are being sued. Fox 8 has reported that Michelle Harlukovich from Aiken, Ohio, has filed a lawsuit against Hogan, Real American Beer, and Thirsty Cowboys on February 10th over an injury she suffered at a Real American Beer promotional event on August 19th, 2024. The Real American Beer event was held at Thirsty Cowboys in Medina, Ohio, and Harlukovich has alleged negligence causing injury after a sealed beer can was thrown 50 feet and hit her on her forehead. Photos of a can-shaped wound on her forehead were included in the lawsuit, and Harlukovich required 10 stitches to close following the incident. The lawsuit alleges that Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Bollea, and other promoters for Real American Beer were riling up the crowd by throwing 3 cans into the crowd, and one of them threw the beer can which struck Harlukowicz. The alleged victim, who was standing near the back wall when the beer can hit her, she claimed she never saw the beer can coming towards her and didn't have a chance to avoid it. Quote, she had an open wound to her forehead. It was pretty big. She ended up needing a number of stitches to her head, and she's going to have some permanent scarring from that, Harlukowicz's attorney, Eric Tafel, said. Medina Township Police responded to the incident after it happened, but no charges were filed as officers could not determine who threw the beer. Within the lawsuit, Harlukowicz is seeking damages for medical expenses, pain and suffering, and emotional distress. WWE became part owners of Real American Beer earlier this year, and the company's logo is displayed on the Monday Night Raw ring mat. Hogan appeared on the Raw Netflix premiere to promote the beer and was roundly booed inside the Intuit Dome, something Hogan claimed he has expected. And finally, Kenta has re-signed with Pro Wrestling Noah. The prodigal son has returned, with Kenta departing New Japan Pro Wrestling to return to Pro Wrestling Noah full-time. Kenta departs New Japan after a 6-year run in the promotion, with the former Bullet Club member's profile being removed from the official roster page on February 12th after announcing his planned departure earlier this year. In a press conference held later on February 12th, Noah EVP and ace Namochi Marufuji announced the return of his former rival. One of the foundational pieces of Noah's junior heavyweight division in the early 2000s, Kenta was a part of the company for 14 years, eventually holding the promotion's top prize, the GHC Heavyweight Championship, for 343 days in 2013, before departing for WWE NXT in early 2014. The creator of the Go to Sleep would have an injury-ravaged time in NXT as Hideo Itami before exiting in 2017, landing in New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2019. In New Japan, Kenta would reign as a 1-time IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, 1-time Never Openweight Champion, 2-time IWGP Tag Team Champion with Chase Owens, and 2-time Strong Openweight Champion. Kenta last wrestled for New Japan at New Year's Dash on January 6th and would return to Noah in the ring on February 11th. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.